switch over to making assets today because things just look nicer when you have slightly better assets. So what are we going to do here? I already hit a button. I don't know what I did. Hopefully it doesn't do any harm. All right, so for this block, this cube, we're going to give it a size of 0.3. And then it's going to be 1300. It's going to be 1300 because the default Bomberman map has 13. Oh, man. I got to restart this. Here we go. So basic one. Here we go. Starting out, this block has dimensions. This is what I meant to do. So it's going to be 13. So these are all going to be 26 meters, and that's because we're going to have a 13 by 13 grid on here. Let's see if we can't represent that by going into edit mode and faces. Take this top face, whoops, and we're going to loop cut. The controls for moving around in Blender and in Unreal are different, so I always get confused when I'm working with them. But this is not working so well. Okay, so let's see. We can do this. And how we do that? Loop slide cuts, number of cuts, 12. So we do 12 cuts to give us 13 that way. And then we'll do 12 cuts here to give us 13 that way. So now we have our map, 13 by 13. So then on top of this is just sort of a basic grid. We probably won't even use this because we may want to just build the floor out of blocks itself. But for now, we'll just use this, and we'll build stuff on top of it, and we will do other blocks. We will turn the floor into blocks if that becomes necessary. So we'll go back up to object mode, and we're going to go ahead and add a mesh cube, 2 meters by 2 meters. Let's see here. We're going to turn on this grip. Basically, it tells it to stick to the volume so that when you move it around, it sticks. So what do we got? We want 2 meters by 2 meters as our block size, I'm pretty sure. But this is going to be a wall block. And hey, as long as we're on this, actually, let's do increments. I wonder if there's how do you change the increment size? I know there's a way. Doesn't matter. Because we're not actually building the map here, we're just building individual meshes. So this mesh is going to be our wall block. Let's take a look at what some walls might look like. Let's see here. Some decent looking walls. These ones are just like lines at the top These ones are just black squares. Yeah, maybe just a beveled look. So we can take this object and then we can edit, go into edit mode. I believe if we hit like, oh, we need to get just the edges. And there's a way to there's a way to grab all edges around. But I forget. That's such a handy technique. Let me Google that. Grab all edges. Select edge loop. Select edge loop. Control Alt right mouse button also might do it. There we go. Left mouse button, it did it. So now you can see all the edges are highlighted. But what we actually really want to do anyway is to highlight this whole thing, go into edit mode. And then we're just going to bevel these edges. Let's bevel them just a little bit here. There we go. We'll give them a 0.05, just give them standard size. There we go. So now that'll be our basic wall block. Maybe I'll do a little bit more to it just to make it stand out. Take all these edges and we will inset them. Let's see, we'll inset them a little bit and depth. That's pretty good. There we go. Got ourselves a fancy looking cube here. It'll look a little bit better than just a regular cube. So what's the next block on our palette? So this is just gameplay, and there's of newer Bomberman. So I'm just taking a look at some of the blocks they've got. So I know I need a destructible block of some kind, and I think maybe this brick block is a good type of destructible block, and I'm going to need a pillar block that can't be destroyed. So actually, let's actually take this big cube and we'll just get you over here for now. So just focus on these. So add a mesh cube, and we're going to also set. Oh, there's where select is. So we can set our origin here to set origin to I want to try and get my origin right on the center bottom here. There might be a better way to do this, but I'm not sure I know it. So I'm going to set this set origin to 3D cursor, which means that its origin will now be on its bottom. I probably should have done this before before I did the edits, because now I've got this face here that is indented. So let's just maybe just move that out. If we go to horizontal mode, we can kind of see. Oh, no, not really. There we go. So now we've got, yeah. And go ahead and do this again. Set object mode, set origin to 3D cursor. Perfect. So I'm going to do this slightly differently. U 0, 0, 0. Just rename this quick to keep track of them. Floor cube is going to be, this one's going to be our, we're going to call this a starter cube. And this one we're going to just use as like the reference. Let's see, I think Z is up in here. And then we're going to set our 3D cursor basically in the center there. And we're going to move our set origin to 3D cursor. So I went into an orthogonal view. Set origin to 3D cursor. There we go. So, well, anyway, it's on top now, but that's fine because we can just rotate this. Second work. There we go. So now we've got our starter block with the origin point on the bottom so that way when we set it down, it will stay on our map more easily. We'll go ahead and duplicate this. Shift D. And we'll just move this along the x-axis. Let's do it again and move it along the y-axis. Do it again, move it along the y-axis. So now we've got starter cube in the back there, and then we've got 3 cubes here we can play with. So what do we want to do for these cubes? Let's do a brick and a wood and maybe a shrub or something. I'm not sure how shrub will go. So how are we going to do this? Obviously, just a simple texture would be pretty good, but that's not going to work really for our low poly style. I mean, it could, but I'm not good at textures. So what we'll do instead is let's do a bunch of loop cuts. 5 loop cuts. That's probably good. And then we'll do 4, 3. So here we go. So what we've done is basically break this up a little bit. Oop, we gotta do some more loop cuts here. And then this should hopefully give us the ability to give it kind of a bricky look by essentially taking parts of it and indenting it. But to make sure we're not let's hide U3. So to make sure we're not like duplicating our work a bunch, what we can do is we can select basically half this thing. Whoops. There's better ways to go about selecting half of this, but here we go. So we got half of that selected, and then we can just delete it, delete the faces. And then what we'll do is on this object, we'll apply a property of mirror, and we'll do it along the Y. So now, this might not give us perfect results, but I'm okay with that because it will be easier. So first thing we should do is just definitely, let's bevel all of the outside edges a little bit. It's basically always how a brick's going to look, so we'll bevel it. Oh, I actually want to also get these ones, because even when we're working with half bricks, they're going to be beveled a little bit. So let's bevel just a little bit. Let's go to 0.25. Whoops, 0.025. Nah. All right, so then we can go through here, and hopefully what we can do is we can sort of like imitate what we did. Well, I wonder. Maybe if I just got to find a good pattern for how this should look. So what happens if we bevel you? Come here, you. 0.025. So it's beveled, but it doesn't look indented or anything. So how? What's going to be the best way to make this indented? Let's maybe play with some other techniques here. What if I did, instead of beveling, inset instead? Okay. There we go. So how does that look? That looks goofy. I wonder if I just need to make this out of smaller bricks. That might just be the way to go. So what do we need here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bricks need to be a half a meter long. Those are big bricks. Half a meter long and a quarter meter wide. So let's try this. Let's object mode. Let's add a mesh cube. Let's give it the size we want of 0.25, 0.25. So let's add, but then let's make the X direction the 0.5 direction. So now we got ourselves a little brick. And what we'll do with this bad boy is we will bevel its edges a little bit. 0.025. Is that even enough to notice? Maybe I should go a little bit bigger. 0.4 might be enough. And then one thing we might be able to do is it's not like a hard surface rendering right now, but if you shade smooth, it kind of looks a little bit smoother. I'm not sure if that's what I want. Shade flat gives it this flat look. Shade smooth is really more for circular objects, I think. So let's do shade flat for now. All right, and we'll put you back at the start point. So now what we want to do is build a whole brick out of you. Whole thingamabob. So we're going to go we got same problem with this one we had on the other ones. So we're going to go here. Going to 3D cursor, and it's pretty close to its center. Going to set origin to 3D cursor. Then we're going to rotate this 180 degrees. Set it to 0, 0, 0. All right, so there we go. So then if we go to starting to think maybe I need this cursor right here actually. Set origin to 3D cursor. So if I go there, I can go out -1, -1, and shift duplicate that. X -0.05. -0.5. Right. We got 2. Move that along the X to 0. We got a few along the Z. 0.25. Zero point five. How many more? Is that halfway? I think so. Shift D, zip, C. 1 meter, 0.5. Blender sometimes like goes off a couple of, yeah. Okay. Okay, right. And what visual origins, let's see. So there's a way to affect everything, but basically what's happening here is sorry. Basically what's happening is blocks are not quite fitting as perfectly as I hoped. Because Blender does these weird things with digits, and I don't know how to get it sticking to one another correctly. I feel like when I do that, it always goes wrong. Oh, what the heck? Let's turn it on. And so we'll go ahead and duplicate U, Z. Oops. Okay. So I should be able to move. I can't seem to grab this Z here. And for reasons beyond explanation, snap. I gotta figure out snapping quick. Blender snap. Nope, I just moved all of them. There we go. Shouldn't have been so hard to grab that. So, you know what we actually need to do, and what I think I might have messed up with that whole thing doing, is we might actually want some bricks which are just 25. Because that way, back that one up. Let's give it a look. So this way we can build in things like this. Gives it kind of a more varied look. fact, if we just do this, duplicate that, we'll rotate it around the z-axis by 90 degrees, and then we'll move it. Actually, let's rotate it along the z-axis 180 degrees, because then we'll have our long piece there. That's pretty close. All right, so now duplicate this bad boy, rotate it around the z-axis 180 degrees. I'll move it here. 0.75, 0.75. Oop. No. It's hard to line these things up, and I know there's better ways to do this, but this will work for now. So here we go. So now if we take this block, shift duplicate this, move it up in the Z to 0.25. I really wish this was the whole thing. I feel like I know there's a way to do it to the whole selection, but I don't remember how. But I guess I'll just do this for now. And then we'll rotate around Z 90 degrees. Rotate Z. Oop. Rotate around the Z 180 degrees. Okay. Okay. So let's instead rotate around the X 180 degrees. And then we'll move it in the Z again. Oh, hey, Andrew. Yeah, I working on this Bomberman game for Unreal, just learning stuff, and I stream it because I feel like it keeps me more focused. It's easier to get distracted when you aren't being recorded. So this is my tactic to try and keep focused on working on this. So let's go ahead and shift D, Z. Yeah, buddy. There we go. Now we've got a decent looking and also a varied looking brick pattern. Shift D one more time. So the only problem with this one is that it is so, there's a lot of polygons in here. And we're going to have these all around our map. It's not like it's a too many, but it doesn't seem efficient. I could probably delete all the faces inside of here. Or we can try to figure out a way. Oop, that created a whole bunch of cubes in my hierarchy. Right? Bomberman, I feel like it's a good, like, pretty simple mechanics, pretty simple level design. I feel like it's something I can do. Like, yeah, Bomberman's easy. Everyone can get into Bomberman. Never played video games before. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. All right, we're also seeing another problem with my brick approaches. I didn't make it big enough. Okay. I wonder what does it look like to just bevel straight edges here? Honestly, that looks better than what was happening before. And then we can bevel up the center by an equal amount. 0.1. Whoops. And then what we might be able to do is select the faces in the center. Oops. We move them. Grab, that's what that is. Grab in the Z. No, what we can do is extrude them in the Z. Oh, just a little bit. There we go. So now this is kind of bricky looking. I don't hate that. This is actually Blender. Here, let me as long as you're here, let me just save this um, Blender file here, and let me go show you Unreal. So let's go. Right. So I was basically what I'm. So here's what I built yesterday. It's basically I just here's what I built yesterday. I'm moving this guy with the controller. It's basically I need to make better assets than just these squares. So I was working on squares on assets for this, and yeah, I was just playing. I was just playing with what looked good in Blender. It's fun to just play around in Blender because I'm still pretty new to that as well. And I'm gonna make these like destructible blocks, and these will be pickup blocks. And then I got to make a bomb. So I'm taking way longer than I should, but we're making the assets, but I don't work in Blender often enough to be too quick at it. Yeah, and so this is Unreal, and Unreal is beautiful. The most beautiful thing about Unreal though is their blueprint section. Oh, where's this event graph? So like in here is where you can do all of your game logic. So you don't have to work in C++. And not only is it easier to build it this way than in C++, but you don't have to compile it every time you want to play it. If you come in here and just want to change a variable or something, you don't have to recompile because that recompiling can take like minutes. So now you can build so much more quickly. And then when you need to, you can convert these to C++ if there's a performance issue. But usually there isn't. Yeah. Yeah, a lot. I mean, my plan with it is to sort of do this devlog of building it while learning it, and then if it ever turns into something, I'll put it up on like itch.io for people to play. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun, but I think today I just didn't feel like doing blueprints, so I was just like, I'll just take this time to work on my assets. So just these glowy things. So yeah, so that's Unreal. It's really nice. I love it. Let's see, open recent. Oh, it's okay. So like what you can see here is I made this one. Basically, I just have this. I have just like a basic cube right here on the right. But then here, if I go into edit mode, you can see I'm like sort of trying to figure out what a good brick design might look like. And individual bricks looks pretty good, but it's kind of, I don't know if I want to go that route. So I was trying to find a good way to do it without um, individual bricks. And if we indent what we did already, then we can bevel these just a little bit like this. 0.005. So now we've kind of got an interesting look on top here. Go into object mode, we can kind of see how it looks here. Versus these things. These just look a lot better, honestly. I think I'm just gonna go with those because these single bricks look better. Uh, yeah, feel free. Don't feel like obligated to just hang out. I'm definitely appreciate watching and chatting. Superman 2 is amazing. It's a good movie to fall asleep to. Bill and Ted. I did not see Bill and Ted yet. Me and Kat want to go see it. We have not gotten to see it yet. Our week's been pretty crazy too. I mean, this whole COVID thing has just made everything impossible. So I actually need to grab you along the not Z out to here. -1, 0.75. I need to fill in this. And this should all be able to be filled in with double with this one of these. Yeah, about Blender looking better than it used to. It definitely, I don't know. I didn't use Blender too much back in the day, but I've been using it, a bit recently, and it's been amazing. It's really, really good, in my opinion. Oops. One thing I haven't figured out is how to do like the snapping, because that would really help me. What I mean is by snapping to an asset, because, oops. Because right now I have to like drag it kind of close. Okay. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's fine. It's fine. Shift D, rotate Z 180, grab Shift Z, move you right there. What are you doing out of place? There we go. So I actually kind of like that. But now how do you do the top? Let's try one more time. Let's try doing another version of bricks just to see if I can find something else I like. So you can change the number of things there. So we'll do, I kind of like this to the, it's 4x4 I had going there. I wonder if I can just do that to the whole thing. So if I select all, now what I can do from here is, I think I can inset maybe? Ugh, inset can be such a pain in the butt. So I'm on inset and I'm on faces. Now come on now. Let's inset. Huh. Not sure why the inset's not working. It works on one face. Select all. But it's not working on all faces. All right, well, I guess that means I have to do this. So now what I can do is go to object mode, apply a property, a modifier called mirror. We can do it on the X and the Y axis. Edit mode, we'll select our faces. Let's see, can I do just the 4? Okay, I see what's happening. It wants me to do it to all of them. So I hit this individual, and then what I can do is that 0.02, 0.01. Oh yeah, no, exact. The brick pattern. I thought about just doing a texture like with a normal map and a bump map, but I don't really know how to do that. And I could have downloaded one, but I kind of want to do everything myself. So I'm trying not to go into assets. So I'm just doing everything in a sort of a low poly style with simple materials. Um, I may set up some sort of roughness and normal mapping for the bricks later, but for right now, I'm just going to do this. Yeah, no, you're right. It could have done bigger bricks. Definitely. This could have been bigger bricks. Could have been like square bricks or something, yeah. But yeah, just kind of playing. We'll see. Maybe by the end of the day, I will actually make a single asset. So, okay, so I've beveled all these faces. I've inside all these faces. So now what I can do is I might be able to just well, I guess we'll see what happens when I extrude. Okay, that did not work. If I can just scale them all a little bit. Oh, god damn. Some of the controls are just different enough that they make it really hard to not make big mistakes like that. Oh god. How would you do the top of a brick? I don't really want to. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, definitely. I'm down whenever to play. I've been quarantined in the house this whole week because my daughter has to quarantine for school. She's not sick, just she has to stay home. So I've been here all week watching her, and we can't even go like to the park or the grocery store or anything because she's in quarantine. So it's like, yeah. Later, man. Actually, okay, I know what I'll do. I can grab these four, shift duplicates, move along the Y to negative 0.75, and then I can rotate this along the Z by 180. Grab anything but Z right there. All right, that's right. So shift D, X, no Y. Shift D, Y. Shift D, Y. Doesn't look terrible, but man, I don't know if I want that. Sounds good. Talk to you later, man. I'm just gonna stick with that. Honestly, you know what? This one almost doesn't look too bad in comparison. We can do this one. We can D, Y. Let's go right there. D, Y. Rotate Z 90. Grab right here. G, X. There-ish. You know what, actually? We only need three. It's like exactly right. Yeah, actually, yeah, that looks kind of good. So I think those two are pretty good in terms of destructibles. I'll put you back over there. So that took way longer than it should have. That's fine. That's fine. So now what we're going to do is going to make a pillar. So we're going to make a pillar. How do we want to do that? Do we actually want to do it with a new mesh? Oops. Okay. So now let's rotate you by 180 and put you at 0, 0, 0. Right, so we got our starter. Starter cylinder. Let's go and duplicate that on the Y. Duplicate that on the Y. Duplicate that on the Y. Then I'll grab you and move you back base so we can get a better look at our cylinders. Oh boy. What if we inset this a little bit and then we'll extrude it a little bit. Or maybe what we can do is instead of extruding, how does you select edge loop? Select loop, edge loop. Shucks. Bah. Bah. Okay, I don't know how to. I know there's a way to select all the ones around the edge, but I'm not figuring it out. So let's extrude, and let's do a negative extrude. No. Maybe go back. So this is kind of an interesting look. It's got like a little top to it. These ones are like blocks with little tops too, though. So what else can we do with Whoa. I don't know what that did. That was interesting. Didn't seem to work on this end gun. Let's see, there is also, let's see, instead of having an inset like that, we could have instead loop cut. Nope. Right up there somewhere. Then right down there somewhere. Then what we can do is we can extrude region. Oops. Okay, so extrude, I'm like, there we go. We can also have a pillar like this. Oh, I think we did too many extrudes. So we'll do that. Extrude. No. We'll right click, extrude. Yeah, okay, like that. I think I might have. There we go. It's hard to tell, but sometimes you get two extrudes on top of each other and you have a little bit darker line. It's not quite right. That's not terrible. So what are the ones they have here? They've got sort of this beveled plus an indent on top. Let's just try and make that one. Kind of like the way that one looks. See some beveled around the edges. It is not. Let's move you to the side here. Let's get blender over here. So let's edit this block. All right, so then I'm going to do a loop cut right up here. Sort of kind of has like a little shadow up there, but that might just be like artifact. So let's instead do this. Inset face. Move that up in the Z. Then inset face. Inset face here. And if you extrude into the Z a little bit, there we go. Can have this weird looking block. So it's very similar to the ones they have. Their pillars. And then, as long as we're working on all of this, these assets, I'm running out of time here. It's getting too late. Let's Spent way too many time messing around with bricks for no reason. Okay. So here we're going to add another object, and this time we'll do a sphere. I'm going to do UV sphere. They're better looking. We're going to shade it smooth. But actually, how many segments do we want? And how big do we want it? 1 meter actually kind of seems like it might be the right size. No, that's the radius though. So we want a 1 meter total. That might even be, that's fine. It should be a little bit big. It should pretty much block the path. And then what I can do, set origin to 3D cursor. It's probably okay. So this one has basically half as many segments and polygons. And if we smooth shade that, smooth shade this, how different do they look? This one almost looks too smooth. Let's go to our shading quick. Let's apply a new bomb. Oh, ones. Perfect. So base color, black. Yeah, the smooth one looks better. We'll do the smooth one. As long as we're here. Let's give a couple of other things some materials. See here. Doesn't really need a subsurface. A little bit more metallic. The base color is white. Maybe we'll give it a little bit more grayish. Okay, here we go. This might be cool. So it's not metal. but it's also not rough, which means it's kind of like a shiny, non-metallic object, kind of like a polished pillar. I'm gonna give this one, oops, same material. I want to give all of these bricks. Let's give you a red color. Oh no. What the? No, you have pillar one. Bricks. Okay, let's see. Blender. Assign materials to all selected objects. Oh, welcome back. Yeah.
Here's a quick tip in Blender, and this is something that I needed, especially when I first started using Blender. Suppose you run into a situation like this where you have 1,000 objects, like I have here. I have 1,000 cubes, but none of them has a material applied to it. So I clicked on that one, no material. No material.
So let's see here. What's he doing?
And right now I'm just going to make it just a simple blue color. Now what you do with the blue cube selected, go ahead and select every one of your objects that you want to change blue. And in this case, I'm going to press B to open up box select, and then drag around and make sure I select every object that I want to change to that new material. All of them are selected. Now, all you have to do is press Control L, and it brings up this sub menu, and then click Materials. And then it will apply that material to every one of the objects that you selected. Anyway, that's it. Hope that tip helps. Later, people.
Go to the material tab, select material slot, click the specials button. Ugh. was doing Shift down instead of Control L. Beautiful. So, Control L, materials. Sweet. So now we're actually going to want to do those. We're going to want to create a new brick. I'm doing this one like a little bit more dingy, like brownish color. Let's go back to this brick quick and let's turn its roughness all the way up. It's not metallic. Subsurface. What the? Maybe a little bit of subsurface. Subsurface is not going. Yeah, no, okay, no subsurface. I'm gonna have to figure out better brick materials at some point. Let's just for now make this slightly less bright red. Like that. And then we'll go to brick 02. Doesn't look terrible. Select a bunch of bricks at random here. You can all be bricks 02. And Control L, materials. Alright, then we'll do another brick. This one will be 02. And this one will give maybe darker brown. And that's the same here. what should our wall look like? What do the walls look like over here?
Control.
Interesting, they are all slightly less than the 2 meters. So actually, what I might end up doing is taking all of these, scale by 0.9. So now they're all 90% size. Oh, but I don't want to do it with the edge blocks. Scale 0.9. There. So we got our destructible bricks. We got our 2 different types of pillars. We got. Maybe I'll turn this to like a push-pull block. I don't know. Let's give it a new material of edge wall. So there's 1 base color. Let's do like a black, and then we'll make it metallic. Make it a little bit metallic. We'll make it a little bit shiny. Which reminds me, let's make this like you like pretty darn shiny too. A little bit less than black. Okay. Some decent assets to work with. Edge block, pillar block, destruction block. Let's just do a little bit more work on this bomb here. So add a cylinder, and the cylinder will be radius of 0.25, depth 0.25. Let's do a radius of 0.1, 0.2, 0.1. All right, so then that's kind of bombish looking right there. And off the top of this, what we can do, let's see if I remember how to use this. Yeah, shucks. So I accidentally added that cylinder in edit mode, which made it linked to the sphere. Not ideal. So we'll add a cylinder. Yeah. Okay. Then what we can do, we can add a curve, without a Bezier curve, grab X. So if we start the curve here, and grab. I don't want it to be this long. Let's see, how do we change the length of this thing? That looks kind of bomb-ish. So let's see if can we increase the radius on this thing. Oh, German scientist Kraus. Just messing around in Blender, trying to build some assets for a simple Bomberman game. If you got any ideas, feel free to call them out. If you know how to do a Bezier curve, I need to figure out how to increase the radius on this thing. Increase Bezier curve radius. Oops. There we go. There we go. That's kind of bomb-like. That's bomb-ish. For shading, I'll give you bomb top for your material. Give you a sort of gray material. Make you metallic. Make you pretty shiny. And we got another material. Call this one wick. This is just going to be white. Straight white. It's rough. It's not metallic. Maybe we can give it a subsurface. Okay. All right. I think I got enough assets to export. So New collection. Bomb. Bah. Bezier curve. Come on down here. Bomb. Oh, nice. It did move them all. All right, sweet. All right, so what we're going to do is file. Save all of this, first of all. Now let's see if I can remember how to export. File, export as a wavefront object. I think that's probably what I'm going to want. I'll do this as Bomberman bomb. Oops, and did I export selected or did I export the whole thing? Let's figure that out. Selection only. Export wavefront object. Bomberman wall. Why is this red? Okay, Bomberman wall. Export wavefront. Bomberman. Pillar 1. Export object. Export wavefront 2. Object. I don't think it exported the sun, but just to be careful. Export 2 projects. Save. Well, you know, I didn't yet create a Bomberman or Wowman, either one. I'll have to do that next time. All right, so now what I have to do is import all those objects I just exported. I think So I think this is something I heard about when exporting. Okay, so it did import the materials. That's good. Seems to have imported everything except the problem is it imported everything at a super tiny scale. So, like, if it drags in here, Bomberman size. So, what is? I think it needs to be 100 times bigger. I don't know why Unreal has such weird units, but hey, it's not looking terrible. It's not looking terrible. The geometry point is way off. There's a lot of things not great about this export. Best export to Unreal.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3D Tinkerer channel. So today I'm going to show you how to quickly export your Blender models over to Unreal, and then afterwards I'm going to show you some of the troubleshooting methods for some of the common problems I've run into. But we're going to quickly show you how to do this so I don't waste your time. So you see here I have a little crate object, and it's really easy to export your model. So here I have it selected. Just make sure you click on it, or if you have a lot of objects and you're seeing that you want to export as one file, you just press A on your keyboard, and then you go up to File up here, you go down to Export, and FBX is a good option for Unreal. It's what people usually use for Maya. And then you'll see this screen right here. So up top you can choose the path for your file where you want it to export out to, and then down here is your export settings. So you really don't have to change much if you're just exporting a basic model. I usually check selected objects so that you only export the selected objects, that way you don't export like cameras or anything weird like that. You can also specify what objects, so mesh will really make sure you don't export any like odd objects. You can leave scale at 1. We'll come back to something like that later. And that's pretty much it. Once you have the name you want for it and you have the location, you just click export here in the top right, export FBX, and then that's it. You see here now if I go to the file that I saved it in, we have a crate object. If I hover over it, it is, sorry, let me go to properties, you see it's an FBX file, and I can actually open it with Windows 10's 3 object view. And if we give this a second, you can see there's our crate right there. And all you have to do is go to Unreal, and then you simply can drag and drop the object into your project. Now, there's going to be a lot of options. If you want to tweak any of these, you can, but for just a basic prop, you can just hit import. Obviously, if it's a skeletal mesh, this will usually be checked by default, if you have like an armature or anything like that. But if you just have a prop, you can just click import, and then it'll come up with an error from Blender exports. It'll say no smoothing group found in FBX scene. If you don't, it'll just automatically fix that for you or ignore it. It isn't that big of a deal. So you can just X out of that, and here's your crate. Now, you'll notice it didn't create a material. If you want to create a material when you export the object, you have to make sure in Blender with the object selected, you go over to the material panel right here, and you want to make sure you have some material, and you're going to want to give it a name like crate material, and basically it'll auto-make one for you in Unreal, but, you can just quickly make one yourself. So you'll see here, I'll quickly go to, where is it, materials and textures, and I'm going to make a new material, call it crate underscore material, and there you go. So basically all you have to do is take your textures. I'll grab some of these textures that I made in Substance for this crate. We'll let it load a bit. Just give it a second. Okay, so now we have our textures in. Now, because this is a very special map with the ambient occlusion, metallic, and roughness all layered over it, this is something you really have to worry. You don't have to worry about this if you're coming from a Substance export. So I'm just going to uncheck the sRGB button right here. That'll basically make sure that it actually works for my purposes. I'm going to hit save. I don't have to do that with the other ones. It automatically recognizes the normal map and makes it one in Unreal, so that's pretty nice. And all you have to do, if you do have textures for your object, is go into Material, drag them in. And in this case, I'm going to let them load real quick. You just take your RGB for your color texture to the base color. This is the normal map, so that goes to normal. And then we're going to take the blue for this one to metallic, I believe, green to roughness, and red to ambient occlusion. I believe that's the right setup for this texture, but shouldn't be too big of a deal if we get the order wrong. This is just a tutorial, so. Okay, and you can see there's our mangled texture, and all you have to do is go to your object, and then you can just drag the texture up here. It even highlights it for you, and there you go. There's your textured object. So it looks very cool, and then you can do whatever you want with it. You can drag it into your scene, etc. So that's it for exporting. So now we're going to move on to the troubleshooting phase of the video. Okay, so
Okay, let me go back. Try a better export. I did not export at all like I'd hoped. Close view. Let's go back into development. Let's go back into Blender. recent Bomberman assets. So let's just try the one this time. Let's try you guys. File, export, FBX. Scale 1. Select objects. Just mesh. Right. So I think this is what we just exported. Huh. Doesn't seem to have the wick there, but maybe the wick will be there if when we open up Unreal Engine. I have both these open at the same time. Hopefully my computer does not explode. Auto generate collision, definitely. Let's see, create new materials, import all. See how that goes. Yeah, this did not, it looks like it did not export the wick, but it did. Imported each thing as like a separate element. I wonder if I need to go into Blender and like merge these somehow. Export multiple meshes as single. It's like J.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to export multiple objects that are all UV mapped to the same coordinate.
Sorry if you're watching, I'm just trying to
map to the same coordinates. So this is really useful if you have
so
you have separate objects that all share the same texture map and you want to texture them in Substance Painter. So I've got this unwrapped.
That's not what I want. Now, it might just have to be this way for a variety of reasons. Well, I guess maybe can I export the wick by itself? The wick might not count as a mesh, I wonder. So there we go. Yeah, it doesn't count as a mesh. So get rid of those. Delete. Delete. Now import this bomb. Yes. Sweet. Okay. So then we'll go to actors. BP bomb. viewport. I'm going to add a component of a mesh, static mesh, body. Make this the root. Static mesh will be bomb sphere. Nice. Then we'll add to this a couple more meshes. We'll add our bomb cylinder. Then we'll add another mesh for the wick. Okay, so now we got a bomb. Sweet. File, save that. And then let's drag this onto the screen. Okay. Let's make sure that Unreal reset mesh to origin. So I want to get you. So why can't I grab you? That's good enough. Oh, that's a big looking bomb. Wonder if we should scale that down just a little bit. We can add one more thing. Particle system. Fuse. This is just a default particle. That probably goes on for too long. I'll have to get a new particle at one of these points. But that'll do for now. All right, let's just import the rest of our meshes and call this a night. I'm going to export FBX. BM exports. Oh, good luck. Yeah, good luck with your fixes. I hope that. Yeah, obviously it's hard to comment on whatever you're doing, but I'm sure you'll do a good job. Your team will be super impressed. And my fuse animation plans. Well, I'll probably make a different particle system that's more of like a sparks here instead of a smoke. Um, and then I'm not sure. I'm either gonna maybe I'll have it flash colors at an increasing speed, so maybe it'll like flash a little bit red or something, like flash, 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 flash. Um, could do an explosion, and then obviously when it explodes, it needs to create an explosion that goes both left and right for like 4 or 5 squares. Um, so I'll just have, I'm not sure, probably just an invisible mesh that takes up that many squares or something and gets played when a bomb is there. I'll figure out how to do that later. All right, so let's just import some of these bad boys. Import all. Oh, buddy. I made a terrible mistake. All of the bricks are exported as singular bricks. Not ideal. We'll just delete them for now. So now here we've got, let's see, we've got our blocks, we've got our pillar block. And for this, so I think it's actually 1 meter in size. Why is that so off? Oh. Enough. It's looking a little bit better. Wall block, which we're going to give this is going to have the same problem as others did. Sure, there's a better way to do this, but I do not know what it is. Yeah, there he is. It's not looking terrible. Hang with those. Let's make sure it still plays. Yeah, and I can't run into the bombs. Actually, the bomb doesn't look too bad from this camera angle, honestly. Bomberman, some sort of Bomberman battle chess. So yeah, I'm building this and I haven't yet been able to get my hands on a copy of the game, so I haven't actually played it recently. So I was wondering, how does it know how much to explode? That's a good knowledge. So yeah, I'm gonna make some power ups for this thing, some pickups and stuff like that. Yeah, sounds good. That's a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, mostly the assets can always be like plugged in later. I just wanted something a little better than the crap I was working with. So I think I'm probably going to stop here for the night, and then the next time I work on this, I'll probably work on. Well, if I do assets again, I'll probably try and actually make a Bomberman. Maybe give him one like a run animation and a hold and throw bomb animation. And then someday after that, I'll have to actually do the dropping, how to drop bombs. Shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, thanks for stopping in, man. Good to talk to you again. Well, talk at you. But yeah, definitely. I'll hit you up. I don't know what you're doing Friday night. I might have some time Friday night if you want to play games or something. Just hit me up, or I'll just hit you up in Discord. All right, later. Game of Bombs.